Hmm. Yes. Can I do it? Is it possible?
Hi, Sonia. It's Raquel.
Okay, I'm hoping that people can hear me. I'm coming on. Let's see. Hello? Okay, let me just figure out the technology and see how to get back here. Ah, there we are. Okay. I did a test run and everything yesterday, so hold on. Let me just get myself together here. All right. And all right. So I'm gonna let's see. Okay, so we've got, I think that was Raquel, and I see Amy. And now I'm trying to figure out how to get my screen the way I want it. Okay, this is, I want to keep that muted. And, oh, I see how this works. Oh, I think I know. Let's see. I figured this out yesterday. Manage participants. Hi, Thelma. Okay. More. All right, I'm going to stop sharing for a minute until I figure this out. Ah, that's not it. Zoom. Ah, that's it. There. There's something here not working with my audio. Thanks for bearing with me, everybody. Okay. All right. I've got a couple things going on here. If I disappear, I'll be right back, okay? Okay. Speaker view. That's not it. All right, so is anybody using video right now? You can tell me if you can see me. That would be a good place for me to start because I'm still trying to figure this out, even though I did a test run with it.
I can see you.
Okay.
Hi, Sonia. It's Thelma. I can see you.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. So I got that handled, and I'm recording, and I see what happens. So let's see. Now I'm going to try something else just to make sure I've got this part handled. Manage participants.
It looks like I'm going to try. Like it's
go ahead.
Stop. You're frozen.
Say that again.
Now you're fine. You were frozen earlier.
Okay, I'm going to mute everybody because I think what that does is it makes sure that we don't pop in and out of other people seeing each other. So let me try that. Current and new participants will be muted. Okay, continue. Okay. Okay, there's Amy. I see Amy's face. All right, Amy, so I've muted everybody. Can you wave at me, Amy, and tell me if you can hear me? Yes. Okay, great. So what I've done is I've muted everyone so that hopefully, hold on, Robin just texted me. This is Mercury in retrograde. God. I can't dial into the call. Now, why would that be? I don't think I did anything. Um, speaker view. Okay, I'm going to unmute everyone. Thank you all for bearing with my learning curve here. Unmute everyone. Everyone should be able to call in. I'm having a hard time with the student hub. Okay, so we have Amy and Thelma and I believe Raquel. Raquel, can you say something? Because I've unmuted everyone.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear?
So, yes. Hi, Raquel. And
Hi.
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I think you're using it correctly because I use
Okay.
Zoom a lot. I'm driving
Okay.
right now, but it seems. I mean,
Okay.
people can.
Good. And then let me see. I'm going to rename these just so I know who's talking in the future. So that was Raquel. Great. And whose number ends in 3003, just so I know who's here?
Brittany.
Hey, Brittany. Okay, let me put you down here. Brittany, great. And whose number ends in 8582?
That's Sharice.
Hi, Sharice.
Hi.
Welcome. Okay. Rename. And then whose number ends in 6488?
That's Lara.
Hi, Lara.
Hi.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, got Lara here. And who's that? Let me see. That should have said 6488. That should say Lara. I don't know why that didn't change. Let me get that. Okay, there's Lara. I have two Laras. Is that possible? I don't know why I've got two Laras, but okay. Is there anybody here whose name I didn't call? Okay, for some reason, Lara, I've got you showing up twice. All right.
I think that was Sharice.
Oh, maybe that's it. Okay.
The first Lara between Raquel and Brittany is Sharice, I think.
Okay.
Let's see.
All right. Well, if I get you guys confused, please forgive me. Okay.
Wait, what are y'all seeing?
All right. So from what I can tell, let me see. Who here? I've got Amy's using video and Thelma's using video and everybody else is calling in. Okay. So I think I'm figuring this out. All right. And let me try one more speaker view. I see how this works. Okay. Let me try one more thing.
Sonia,
Yeah.
the Lara and Sharice, I think is switched the other. Should be
reversed.
switched the other. Yeah, I'm
Got
pretty
it.
sure, but
Thank
who
you.
knows?
I think you're probably right. I figured I had a 50-50 chance. Okay.
I don't know.
We will get started. So I'm going to change Sharice's to Lara's. Because
I could be wrong, but
somehow Amy could tell the difference. And then this is going to be Sharice. Okay, and I'm not going to spend too much time, more time on the technology, because one way or the other, we're going to get this figured out. Okay, great.
I think it's kind of fun.
Okay, good. Well, you're not stressing out, so.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute everyone so that those of you who are following by video won't have different faces popping in, and then we will have time for Q&A and check-in and shares. Okay. So I'm going to do that for now. Mute all. Okay, great. And I think we'll be pretty good to go. Okay. And now what I'd like to do is go back to our PowerPoint so that people can follow along with what we're doing here and don't get ahead of ourselves. Okay, there we go. So hopefully what all of you can actually, I'm going to unmute one person just so I can just get a little bit of feedback. So manage participants. Great. This, I think I'm figuring this out. Thelma, I'm going to open you up if I can do this, just to make sure that I've got a little feedback loop. I was trying to have my phone. Okay. So Thelma, your line is open, I think. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. So can you just tell me what you're seeing on your screen so I make sure that I'm clear about that?
So I Yep, I'm seeing the for today's call, what the theme is, the purpose, and the intended results.
Okay, great. And are you seeing me anywhere on that screen too?
I see everybody on the right side in the Zoom. Yep.
Okay, and that includes me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. All right, so I'm going to mute you now so that we can move forward.
Wait, you muted yourself.
Thank you, Thelma. um, anyway, thank you for your patience while I figure out the technology. I spent 30 minutes with a colleague yesterday to try to iron out the bugs, but the best laid plans. So I'm going to trust that this is all working. We're definitely recording, and all of you can see the overview for today. So just to have us really connect in on this, what I'd like to do is just read through this, and I invite all of you to take a deep breath. Maybe you've all settled in here while I was working through the technology. And I'd like to officially welcome all of you to today's call, which is our first official call after the orientation. And our theme for today is and it's actually for the entire program, as you explore, discover, and relax into the inherent safety of the unknown, divine benevolence and joyful fulfillment is revealed in your life. And the purpose of today, not sure why that's happening. Sorry about that little buggy here. Okay. The purpose for today's class is to explore awareness and how it relates to our ability to receive. The intended results for today is that we connect with ourselves, we connect with each other, we acknowledge our successes, we acknowledge our opportunities, we unpack, sorry about the typo, the power of awareness, and we receive our awareness practice for the next 3 weeks. And the reason I'm saying 3 weeks is because we actually have 3 weeks between now and the next call, since our call is the 2nd and 4th Wednesday of each month. All right, so with that, boy, I am really having fun with technology. This is not going, there we go. Okay, so let's settle in. Let's settle in. So what I'd like to do is actually, I know for a pretty strong fact that today's audio is going to be better than last time. And what I do want to do is a bit of a breath process and a guided meditation to really arrive here. And so I invite all of you to close your eyes and to take 3 deep cleansing breaths. And then if in the process of settling in, your phone is still on, the ringer, for example, or there's anything else that might distract you that you do have any power over, kind of setting aside, I invite you to just take care of that and take those 3 breaths as you settle in. Very gently begin to allow your awareness to turn inward. And allow your awareness to begin noticing whatever is present within you. Whether there are thoughts, sensations, emotions, judgments, whether you feel lightness or heaviness in your body. resistance, or openness. Take another deep breath. And simply become aware of whatever's here. As you settle into this moment, into this space, open up to what you've been noticing since our orientation call. If you were at the call live, simply notice what life has been like for you, what you've been noticing, what you've been aware of since then. Doesn't matter if you have felt connected to what we discussed or disconnected. And this call is simply your next opportunity to reconnect. If you weren't at the call, and maybe you didn't even get a chance to listen to the audio recording or the Zoom recording, and maybe this is the first time you're connecting with this group and this material, allow all of that to be okay. Simply be aware of what's presenting for you right now and let it be. Take a deep breath and feel yourself opening up to whatever is here for you now. Saying yes to all of it. So now gently take another breath and scrunch up your toes in your shoes or on the floor or in your socks just to feel your feet. You can even hold your hands to feel the sensation of your hand in your hand. Open your eyes as you're ready. And we're going to move into our class. Okay. So what I'd like to do is begin with a review just to connect us with some of the key ideas that we touched base on in the orientation column. We're going to build on that today, okay? So we talked about how this summer synergy program is going to be a deep dive into receiving. Let me just take care of one thing here. Okay, so receiving, let's talk about what receiving is and is not. Receiving is not about getting, having, accumulating, keeping, or arriving. As we talked about in the orientation call, this is a small u perspective on receiving. And what we're going to be exploring through this program is what receiving is in the most empowering, expansive way possible, which has to do with the feminine approach to manifestation. So receiving is a state of being, experiencing, feeling, flowing through you, and awareness. We talked about the practice that we're going to be exploring a lot this summer and then deep diving into during our retreat. So the practice of receiving, the acronym that we're playing with is ALI or Ally or Ally. We'll see what comes out of this program. So when we're practicing receiving, the first thing is we are aware of whatever's presenting. And you'll want to be noticing what is arising in your inner world or outer world. So the first piece is awareness. The next aspect of receiving is that we let it be. And you'll get to experiment with any or all of these. Letting it be is the energy of letting go. And many of us have explored this idea of how the power of letting go. But the problem with the words letting go, what I don't like about it is we tend to think of it, or the brain associates it with loss. So when we let go, we feel like we're losing something, okay? And we also connect it with a masculine energy of doing. Letting go is something I need to do. So we're going to be going deeper and deeper into the feminine expression of power, which is being. So what does that look like? What does that sound like? What is this idea? So let it be is to simply be with whatever's arising, be present with it, observe it, listen to it, say yes to it, as opposed to no, say yes. You can think or say, I see you. You can ask what it has to say, feelings, thoughts, sensations. You can ask it what it needs. And when you let something be, it will do what it came here to do. It's just arising. So we'll experiment with that. And the final piece of receiving is we invite more. The feminine is an invitation. How does it get even better than this? So it's a thought, it's an energy, it's a willingness. Okay, I am aware of this, I let it be. How does it get even better than this? Or what else is possible now? Okay, through the practice of receiving, what we're manifesting is literally a revealing of whatever shows up instead of the masculine energy, which is to go out and get it. So that's what we're experimenting with. Our mascot for this program is the flower. So the energy of the flower is she examines, she pursues and does nothing. I'm sorry, that's a typo. So she does not examine or pursue anything. She examines and pursues and does nothing. She responds to life and life responds to her. So it's all about responding, as opposed to initiating or pursuing. She receives everything and judges nothing. Her beauty is an eternal invitation. So it's really about invitation. And she contributes and blesses all of life by her mere presence. So manifestation, the feminine way, you already are all that you seek to be, do, and have. So this is an idea that you've all heard me talk about before. And so when we're manifesting from that place, instead of there's something lacking, I need to go get it, you already are all that you seek to be, do, and have. So your only job is to receive what is already here. And our awareness practice from the orientation call was to practice receiving everything that arises in the area of life that you connected with during our meditation, to listen, watch, and journal about whatever shows up, to notice any other areas of life that are inviting you to expand, and to listen, watch, and journal about what's revealed. Okay, so that is the review. Let me, so I'm going to, okay, I'm just going to, let's see here. What we're going to do is we're going to check in. And I'd like to hear everyone talk about, as you check in, what is it that you notice through the practice of receiving? What questions do you have about this practice? And what's showing up in your life? Okay, what showed up during this practice? Well, you know, what is in this manifestation process, whether it's like something really exciting and like, oh my gosh, you know, these things are already starting to percolate in my awareness or in my life, or something that you might find challenging. We'll talk about how to practice receiving no matter what's showing up in your life. So let me just, let's see here. I'm going to stop the share so I can see all of you. Okay, there we go. And let me see, there we go. I want to, let's get this so I can see everything. All right. Nope, that's not what I want. Okay. All righty. Okay, great. I'm sorry. This is just like, no, I can't get this to open up. There we go. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna unmute everybody and let's see. There we go. I think what I'll do for the sound quality is I'm going to call on people. I think that's going to be the easiest way to go, and that way we'll just open up one line at a time. So I'm going to start with Amy. Amy Regai. Hi, are you muted still? Unmute. Why isn't this working?
I'm going to unmute myself.
There we
Did
go.
I unmute my? Okay, there.
I'm not
Okay.
sure. Okay.
Well, hey, this is all new to me too. So it's all,
Okay.
I mean, this part, the Zoom.
Yeah. Thanks for
But,
being gentle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So how's it been going in the last couple weeks with receiving?
So the receiving, and actually I do have a question about receiving. Last week I was out of town with my sister in Fenwick Island, Delaware for family reunion. And it was so wonderful. Like the first day I was there, I was meditating. Oh my gosh, it was very much open and just receiving everything, noticing scenes of people laughing and really noticing that, pulling it in and just feeling a lot of wonderful joy. And receiving everything, good and bad. But then I think the second day of that trip, or the third day, somewhere in there, I just started having a lot of pain in my knee and in my heel, which is an insidious situation. And it has motivated me to get into the doctor. But my question is I really was trying, it's like, I was trying to receive it.
Mhm.
It's hard to receive pain. So I'm literally thinking, okay, I'm receiving this pain. I don't want to resist it. And what is it? What is going on? What is it that my body is trying to tell me? And how do I just keep receiving this? And how does it get even better than this? So that's what I just kept doing over and over again. So eventually things have subsided a little bit. And I do have an appointment coming up this Friday. But when you have something like that, that's sort of like an ongoing situation that's kind of
Mhm.
pecking at you all the time, I just wonder, I guess that's all you can do. I mean, I seem to move through it. It's not gone, but I am not completely unhappy either. I don't,
Mhm.
so
Okay,
I don't know.
that's a great
I don't
question.
really
So,
know.
yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of go with the flow and answer questions
Sure.
as they arise for you and for everybody. And also today's teaching is going to go deeper into this. But just to address this, because I don't want to forget as we go, my
Sure.
first question for you is, when you said, okay, I'm receiving this, what is it trying to tell me? What is it trying to tell me? The main thing I want to explore is when you would say, okay, I received this pain or this discomfort. Okay.
Yes.
Were you analyzing it, or were you opening up to and experiencing the physical sensation of it?
Okay. The physical, and it was emotional.
Okay.
So I was feeling physical pain and the
Mhm.
emotional dissatisfaction of it.
Mhm.
But not saying, oh, maybe I need to stretch, or I wasn't trying to analyze it. I know what you mean by analyzing, because
Mhm.
I do that all the time,
Right.
but really just trying to sit with it. Like, this is
Okay.
different. This isn't
Yeah.
me trying to, oh, I got to go and, wrap my leg up and go
Mhm.
jump you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was more of, okay, what do I need to do? What do I need to do to heal? And so it was different. So it was
Okay.
emotional and
Okay.
and physical pain.
So as we move through this, everyone's going to get an opportunity to really get into the subtlety of awareness, because
Mhm.
we really
Yes.
will often think that we are being with something and we're still analyzing it.
Okay.
Okay.
And
So I'm
yes.
going to give you two words, and I invite everyone to kind of make note of this. Two words of what it means to be aware and let it be. Okay. So the two words are listen
Okay.
and follow.
Follow. Okay.
Okay. So for anyone who's working with physical sensations, either because you've got symptoms or pain or discomfort, or you're noticing things that are happening in your body. One of the things that can happen is we'll say, okay, is there a message here? What's the need? What's the message? And then we won't get any information, right? So then we'll ask the question again. All right, what's the need? What's the message? All right, what's the need? What's the message? So what happens is we're not actually experiencing the sensation and then holding space and simply listen, listen, listen all day long. Listen.
Oh God.
And what you're doing is you're bringing your awareness. So you bring your awareness and you're just being
Mhm.
with the sensation,
Right.
watching, listening. And the other thing, so that's part of it, is don't keep asking the question, just
Okay.
listen. So that is what the flower does. The flower, listening is receiving.
Right.
So play with that. And then
Okay.
follow is, let's say you go to the sensation in your foot, right?
Right.
And you listen and you observe. And then all of a sudden, an emotion, like you said, I felt an emotion come up. So you like something shows up, the emotion shows up as some other sensation in your body. Follow that, listen, be with it. So I'm going to invite you to play with that. Now, is that
Yes.
subtlety a little bit different than what you were doing?
Yeah, it is. And the funny thing is oh, I'm sorry, I got distracted. Somehow. Um, it is a subtle difference. Yes, it
Okay,
is.
great.
Yes, that
Okay.
makes sense to me. So,
Okay. Thanks for leading the
oh yeah,
check-in. Okay. I'm
yeah.
going to mute you.
Okay.
And Brittany, I'm going to open up your line. Okay. Hey, Brittany. I'm hoping you can hear me. That still says mute. Hold on. Brittany, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but can you skip me? I'm so sorry. I'm not feeling well.
Oh, sure. Okay. I'm going to close you out. Thanks. All right, Charisse, I'm going to unmute you. Charisse? Can you hear me, Charisse? Or maybe that's Lara. Maybe I get the names confused.
Wait,
Uh,
this is
who's-
this is Clara.
Hey, Lara. Okay, I did
Oh,
switch your
I
names.
am.
Okay.
It is me talking. Okay.
Okay, great. Thanks, Lara.
Um,
How about
I
you?
I'm doing great. I can't really respond because we literally got in late last night from our marathon trip, and I have not listened to the meeting. And I was totally off the grid when y'all had the meeting, and I couldn't join. And I've really just been in another world for the last 3 weeks, and so I'm really just getting caught up.
Okay, no worries. Glad to have you back and join us. And we will hear more from you next call. Okay.
Sounds great.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, so let's open up Charisse now. Charisse?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
So how are you doing? How's it been going? Did you get a chance to listen to
Good.
the orientation call?
Yeah, I did. So what have I noticed, or is that the question?
Yeah,
Again?
what have you
Yeah,
noticed?
sorry.
Do you
Yeah,
have any
okay.
questions? And just how's the receiving practice been going for you?
Yeah. So honestly, I don't think I've really been focusing on it or even like thinking a lot about it, to be quite honest. But I will say, like I've noticed, well, two different things on two different ends of the spectrum. But one, because I took Zach, my son, to Seattle. We went to drop him off at camp because he's leaving for 3 weeks. But what I noticed that he and I are like, and I don't know if it's just teenage stuff. I'm not sure what's happening, but there's like a lot of tension, and I, am, you know, I'm hearing it, feeling it. I really feel it. And so I've just trying to been like, you know, when things are happening, I'm just trying to, I guess, absorb it, take it, and not react.
Mm-hmm.
So I have been feeling that for a while, or more recently. So, and it's hard because I'm not really sure how to handle it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that's one thing I've been very, I guess, aware of and feeling it and uncomfortable with it, really, quite honestly. I don't like it.
Okay.
So that's one thing. And then another thing is that, which is completely really opposite, is that I went traveling, and a few days after he left, went to these islands, which that's not really what it's about. But I was like just sitting there and like, it was so peaceful.
Mm.
It was so beautiful. And it was so, like I was really in awe of beauty and just recognizing it and not even have to do anything. So I felt like it was very calming and very, just a very good feeling, good place.
Mm-hmm.
And I like with how amazing God really is and what he creates, and just being thankful for it. And having the opportunity to even do that or go and be safe and travel and appreciative, I guess, which are very different things of noticing.
Uh-huh.
One's very pleasant, one's not.
Okay. So I know you said that the actual practice of receiving was not something that was so much on your radar, but it's what you're noticing
Right.
what's going on in your life. Okay. So,
Yeah.
And you did listen to the orientation call, right?
Yes,
Okay.
I did.
Great. So what I'm going to invite you to do is, these are two really good examples. And again, I'm going to use this as an example for everyone. Okay. We root ourselves from a manifestation point of view in the idea of you already are all that you seek to be, do, and have. So all of the abundance, prosperity, well-being, love, connection, whatever you'd normally call a goal is already within you. You don't even have to write a goal. Okay. So our goals already exist within us, and they don't need words to become real. It's just something that we give the mind as a way to focus the mind towards something that we want, as opposed to all of the stuff that we don't want that we react to. But from a feminine manifestation model, it's already within you. And all there is to do is to reveal it. So it's really a constant receiving and revealing and discovery process, and watching what shows up. So when you're receiving something wonderful, like being, connected to God and the beach and the beauty and all of that, the first piece, awareness, is, which you did, you were very aware of it. So like, oh my God. Yeah. And so you say, I receive this beauty. I receive this bliss. I receive this joy. How does it get even better than this? So what's happening is, instead of the small you receiving this and trying to, and we do this a lot, when something good happens in our lives, we actually want to hold it, to like trap it, because we don't want to lose it. But the spiritual conception, energetic aspect of receiving is when something moves through you, because the next thing is always here to move through you and to be receiving is an experience. So you say, I receive this joy, this peace, this bliss. I receive it. How does it get even better than this? So when it's positive, you just keep inviting more or better. And when it's uncomfortable, like the tension you were talking about, you can say, I receive this tension. I receive this discomfort. How does it get even better than this? You're just saying yes to it. You're observing it. Okay. We're going to go deeper in the next lessons around letting it be. But what we're going to be highlighting is the awareness of what is here now, saying yes to it, and how does it get even better than this? So one of my questions for you would be, if you were to like go back to that experience of tension, when you're aware of it, was that like you're feeling it in your body, or were there thoughts that you had around that were causing tension, or you associated with the tension around your son?
I felt it
Uh-huh.
for sure. And like I really felt it is really what it was. And then when I say the emotional side of it, not the physical, like the physical, I felt like I almost like felt physically uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And then emotionally, it was draining me. It was just very exhausting.
Okay. So I'm going to have you also practice what I was talking to Amy about is receive it, be aware of it, and then hold space to really listen, observe, and follow it. So kind of what we're doing when we're listening and following is we're doing the opposite of what is our nature, our instinct. Okay, so instinct is, I feel uncomfortable. How do I get rid of it? How do I make it go away? Do I solve it? Do I, it's always a let me get rid of it process. And some of you may recall from harnessing the power of your emotions, the breath method is instead of like taking a breath and trying to get rid of the emotion, what we're doing is we're breathing it in. So, okay, I breathe in the discomfort, breathe into it, open up the space, observe it, follow it, listen, be curious. So what we're offering is non-resistance. That's a way of letting it be. Okay. So I'm going to have you explore that if it continues to arise, and also to take it into the next 3 weeks. Our practice is going to be around, we're deep diving into awareness specifically. So really getting curious, just curious. Okay.
Yes.
Good. All right.
Thank
Thanks, Charisse. Okay. Thank you. Okay. I'm going to close out your line. All right. And Raquel. Hello.
Did you call me, Sonia?
Yes, I did. Hi.
Okay, I couldn't hear for a minute.
Okay.
What I'm noticing is just anxiety. I was on vacation last week, and I had a lot of even though I was in a beautiful place in the mountains of Colorado, with people that I love, my sons and 2 of my best friends, I had a lot of anxiety coming up. And it was mostly around work. It was mostly around the possibilities that I've been working on not coming to fruition. It was just a lot going on in my head and in my body that I could feel, kind of similar to what Cherie said. And at the same time, also similar to what Cherie said, I mean, I was experiencing being in a beautiful place and a lot of gratitude, but a lot of angst. And I did have a moment of release where I was able to cry and let it out. And one of my friends walked in as I was crying, and, we prayed about it. And that was a good moment just to let it go. And but I'm noticing, and I'm also noticing that I need to set my expectations higher and just expect great things to happen, instead of going the opposite direction and imagining the worst thing happening. So I'm willing to practice that.
Okay, good. Great job noticing and holding space for the release to happen. And the thing I'd like to say about I need to expect great things is a lot of times what happens is because you already are all that you seek to be, do, and have, your deepest self, okay, your true nature expects beyond what the mind can ever expect, because the mind is bound up in thoughts and beliefs and limiting expectations in the past. But when you receive in the way that we're practicing, and the let it be is one of the things that happens when we let it be, is there is a release. Okay, that's one of the ways let it be can show up, is there's a release, there's movement, it can move through us. And then that expectation of greater things is which already lives within you, is now available. So instead of what we normally try to do is when we're battling limiting beliefs or angst or anxiety, we try to talk ourselves into thinking differently, like talk ourselves into expecting better. But that dishonors and resists what's occurring inside of us. But when we receive what's occurring and let it move through us and the release happens, let it be, then that greater expectation, which is your true nature, infinite potential, it's revealed, it becomes available to us. Okay. So you're doing great. And, your opportunity moving forward will be to continue practicing receiving. And we're really, like I said, going to highlight awareness in particular. Okay.
Okay.
Great. Thanks, Raquel. Okay. I've got something coming up here. Let me just check. Okay. So Lara, I see your chat. So I'll have you check in a minute around this. Okay. So Raquel, I'm going to mute you. Brittany, Cheryl, Robin. Okay. Hey, Robin, can you hear us? Or are you there?
Hey, yeah, can y'all hear me?
Yes, great.
Awesome.
All right. I know that you had trouble getting in originally, but are you kind of caught up to what we're doing today?
Yeah, I was about 8 minutes behind.
Okay. So so check in with us on how receiving's been going. Do you have any questions? What have you been noticing?
It's been going awesome for me, like awesome. So, and really, I really need to start practicing it in every area of my life, but really where I have done it pretty much the most, where I've seen it, maybe let's put it that way, is with work. So, sometimes though, I think you have to be kind of careful what you wish for, right? Because I'm like, I'm willing to receive, and all of a sudden I'm like, holy shit, I'm so busy. Whereas before I wasn't. I had a lot of like stress and anxiety about it. Now I have some really fantastic deals, and I just found out one of the guys is moving roles that I work with and transitioning pretty much all of his accounts to me. So it's going fantastic. And I'm willing to receive more.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So why don't you just give us a little example of how you've been using the receiving? I mean, so we're hearing about these great things that are showing up, and that's what happens with this model of manifestation. Tell us how you've been using the actual practice of receiving, like one example of that.
So there's really only two ways I've been doing it. So a lot of it, like during meditation, sometimes I'll do it and I just like repeat it in my head, like I'm willing to receive, I'm willing to receive, I'm willing to receive, or I'll, just give it lots of gratitude. Like I'm so, grateful for the abundance that's coming. I'm so grateful for the abundance that I have. I'm so, you know what I mean? I'll give lots of, that's what's been kind of working for me. Just lots of gratitude and lots of willingness.
Okay.
And then the other thing that I forget about, and I'm sorry, my child, it doesn't matter if I'm on a work call or a personal call, like she won't talk to me all day. And then as soon as I'm on a call, she has to have my undivided attention. It's very frustrating. I'm sorry I got distracted.
Oh, I don't hear anything. It's okay.
So, the other tool, I guess, that I've been using is how does it get better than this? And kind of what we've been talking about just in our own personal coaching, about, okay, so, putting your hands out in front of you, and I think we went through this on the first call, like you're placing a box in my hand, like, okay, so whatever it is, like, okay, so that deal is not going to happen. Okay, so put it on a shelf. How does it get better than this? Or, okay, that deal is happening. Okay, put it on a shelf. How does it get better than this? So I haven't used that one as much as I've used willingness, but they both work phenomenally. And I think gratitude is another big thing for me as well. I don't know. I feel like the more gratitude I have or I give, the more I end up receiving. I don't know.
Good.
So,
excellent.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, this is great.
Okay.
Thank you so much. All right.
Yeah.
Great. So let's see. Thelma, let me open your line up. Okay, Thelma, how about you?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So I guess from a receiving perspective, I think for me, what I've been noticing from a self-awareness is just triggering of difficult relationships. So the tools I've been using is, you know, I think the gestures, when you did the gestures, I've just been actually gesturing all the time. It's like, right? It's like, okay, I'm just going to let this sit. And then how can it get better? So I've been using how can it get better? What does it need? What does it want? And what I've noticed in the 2 weeks since the orientation call and, you know, you and I working together is it's taken some time, but that relationship, I feel like, is back to what it originally was when there was love in place, right, and respect. But it wasn't the other individual that changed. It was probably me that changed in that perspective. I also noticed that what's interesting is doing that for both things, doing the alley for both good and bad, right? So it's so easy to do it for bad, like, okay. But I have to remember to do it for good as well. Right. Because I am noticing that people are showing up to help me get clarity on my next phase of my life. So that's a good thing, right? It's like, okay, I got this. I'm not going to judge it. Notice it. How can this get better? Or what does need? Or what's possible?
Right.
So for me, it was like relationships and then next phase of my life is what I've been observing. Some financial investments, you know, good and bad. Those are kind of the things I've noticed since the orientation call.
Okay, great.
I did have a question, though, because, I mean, listen and follow, those are your two words, right? So when you talk about listen, and, you know, this is the analytical part of me, and it's a quiet spot, but is it just an inner voice that I'm listening to?
Okay.
To follow, or?
Yeah, good question. Okay. Yeah, so I'll definitely elaborate on that. Let me, I'll close it out just so I can, you know, keep well, actually, we'll be fine without it. So let me talk about that. One of the things I believe I started to talk about in the orientation call, so I'm going to revisit now, and it actually dovetails nicely with today's teaching, is this. The realm feminine manifestation is infinitely powerful, but it is subtle, subtle, subtle. So whereas masculine, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close out your line, but I'll check in because this is so everyone can hear. Okay. So whereas masculine is hard, okay, it shows up in our biology. It shows up in the yin yang. The hunter uses hard tools to kill. It's force. The feminine is soft. Shows up in our biology, okay? It's the flower. So what that means is while what is possible in manifestation is equally as powerful, okay? The masculine can build buildings and can kill and can bring, like, move heavy rocks and build pyramids, like in the physical realm, that kind of strength, or it's called force. It's power versus force. So force is exerting over things in the physical realm. Power is something that comes from within, okay? And it is invisible and it is subtle, okay? So the flower is soft. When we look at, and I was thinking about this as I was preparing for this, when we look at, for example, the Grand Canyon, perfect example. The masculine is the rock, the feminine is the water. The water is soft and flowing and ever moving, but how powerful is it that by its mere presence and flows, it wears away. It changes the form of the rock. It changes what we see with our physical eyes. So power versus force, softness versus hardness. So this program is about really exploring the soft, invisible, subtle aspects and expressions of feminine. So when you ask, what does it mean to listen? Okay, the reason we meditate, the reason we get quiet, the reason we turn within is because all of the communications of the feminine divine wisdom are subtle and soft. And so we have to really get quiet enough to hear, because the masculine realm and all of the stimulation will drown it out. Right? So what is listening? It is the still, small voice. And so we practice listening through meditation. We practice tuning into our bodies. And when you get really quiet, you notice, where does your awareness go in your body? What am I sensing? It's subtle things. Sometimes, when we don't feel well, when we feel pain, that's loud. But when it's like, oh, my face is kind of just a slight buzzing, or my fingers are tingling, or my stomach feels a little bit heavy, but my chest feels open. So we're practicing that awareness. Okay, that's what listening means. And follow is the same thing, is when you notice a sensation, when you get quiet enough to notice a sensation or feel something, or you get a little, I remember when I was doing some of my earliest psychic development work, and we would kind of listen and pay attention and observe. What I have found about the still small voice is, that it's your intuition, that it's your feminine wisdom, because, and this is what I've experienced, so you need to experience for yourself, but it kind of like, it's very simple. It's like a word, a sentence, it comes in once and it's done. Now, it's your ego or your mind, if it's persuasive, if it's argumentative, it's just trying to convince you of something, you're trying to convince it of something, it's a very different feeling, okay? So those are some of the ways we're playing with listening and what that voice sounds like, and following. So I'm just going to open up your line to see if you have any follow-up questions on that.
No, that's good explanation.
Okay, great. All right. Thanks, Selma. That's great. Okay, so Lara, you had something to share. I want to just make sure we're doing good on time. Let's see if I can unmute you. I don't know. More, Lara. Let me see if I can open yours up. So, Lara, did you say that you had something else that you wanted to share that fits in with our conversation?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I kind of feel like I was picking up on all the energy before it even started. I went, when the day that we had the first meeting that I couldn't make, I was in Portland. And I was at the Grotto. I don't know if you've ever been there.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah.
Magical. And so, being Catholic, I apologize if I'm explaining stuff that people don't understand, but it's in this beautiful, like, carved out side of a cliff, and I like Raquel. I so identified with what Raquel said, because I'm in this gorgeous, area of the country on this trip with my family, and I have this undercurrent of anxiety about this work career crossroads I'm at, and money, and this is going on even though I'm in this beautiful place. But I got to the Grotto, and there was statue of Saint Peregrine, who is the patron saint of people who have like cancer or terminal illness and things like that. And so I don't know why, I just started praying for healing for me, my family, anybody that needs emotional, physical, spiritual healing. And that was just what when I went to the Grotto, what came to me. Well, I went up the elevator to the top of the cliff to the meditation chapel and sat there, and I was sitting there, and that's all I kept thinking of. And it's this beautiful vista over the city. And this voice came back to me. Like, a lot of times I ask a question or I say something and something else says something in my head, but it's still my voice. And this voice, and I was asking for healing, for spiritual, emotional, physical healing for me and everybody in my family, whatever it is that we need healed. And this voice, and it was very clearly not my voice. So this was it was an experience I've never had before. It was not my voice, but it wasn't like a loud booming voice, but it was clearly not me. and I'm asking for healing, and it just said, "You are healed." And that was it. And it came, and
Wow.
probably when you just said that, you're like, this, it will come and it will go. You will hear it, and then you will not hear it. And that's exactly what happened to me. And after that, we went to Oregon. We went to Rhododendron, and we were in a cabin that had no Wi-Fi and no cell service. And I had like 48 magical hours of reading and listening to the river, and it was incredible. Anyway, I had that listening, that receiving, that I feel like I had it simultaneous with y'all. I just didn't know it yet.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much.
It was amazing. I've never had that experience. The voice just clearly, it was not me. And it just clearly told me, you are healed.
Excellent. So this is what we're talking, and this is just the beginning of this program. I mean, people, women, we're going to open up to things. You're going to open up to your own connection, to your own inner wisdom, your divinity, that inspiration. It's all here. It's all right here. It's about opening up to it. So thank you for sharing. That's really awesome.
Thanks.
Okay, so because I got off to a little bit of a late start, hold on, let me make sure I've got everyone muted here. Okay, because we got off to a little bit of a late start with all my technology stuff, I'm going to keep going. I've got some slides to show you, which is going to go over, it'll be fairly quick, maybe another 5 minutes or so, just the deeper dive into awareness and the awareness practice. But if you need to go, the video will be here and the slides will go out, okay? But if you can stay, which I would love, let me just show you what we're doing here. Share, okay. Back to, let's see if I can find my PowerPoint. Where'd it go? Here we go. Okay. All right. Okay, we are going here. Okay. Oops. Okay, so let's do a deep dive into awareness. So we've talked about awareness, let it be, invite more or better. To really continue to explore what receiving is, we're going to go into each one of these elements a little bit deeper with the coming lessons. So let's talk about the awareness piece. That's the very first part in receiving, okay? What awareness is not thinking, examining, judging, assuming, drawing conclusions, problem solving, or awareness or identity. In other words, if you're aware of something, or let me put it this way, if you're saying or thinking, I am X, or it is X, those I am is an identity statement, and it is a judgment statement or an ownership. Like there's this melding that happens between the thing and the consciousness. It becomes merged, okay? These are all ways that we absorb what is arising. So when we absorb something, we get lost in it. All right? And I'm going to give you some examples, but these are the main ideas. Now, how awareness behaves. Awareness, the first part in receiving. Awareness notices, observes, allows a space between you and the thing that is arising, whether it's internal, a feeling, a sensation, or external. Somebody does something, a person, or the news, or something on social media, or the weather, whatever it is, something is arising in your inner world or your outer world. This is arising. And when you're aware of it, there's space between you and the thing that's arising. Even if it's internal, there's the ability to stand back from it. And awareness also behaves with curiosity. It's simply curious. It doesn't say, oh, it is this, or that's this, or names that are labels that are judged. It's just like, huh, Interesting. So when we practice awareness, we observe and we remain connected to our power. This is so important. We remain connected to our power because our power lives in our spaces. You may remember this from the Sovereign Woman retreat, and we talked about it in Illumination. Our power lives in our spaces. Now, I'm going to give you a little foreshadowing on a pretty mind-blowing concept. This is kind of like, I don't want to call it advanced, but it's kind of an advanced concept for at least the ego mind. Okay. You are not you. The you that you like. Sonia is just a name and a label. These identities that we think we have, I'm a doctor, I'm a coach, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, all of these labels, that is not what you are. What you are is space in which divinity or life arises and expresses. That's actually what we are, is awareness. And things arise in the space that we are, okay? So when we practice awareness, we're connected to our power because what we're allowing is a space. We're allowing a space for something to arise and to move through us or move through us, okay? So then let's talk about examples of the distinction between absorbing something when there's no space. Okay, the thing happens and I'm like, I'm just it. I'm just experiencing or feeling or thinking and I'm lost in it, versus observing where there's space. So an example of absorbing is you're running a business, you need to make some money, and you're caught up in problem solving. I need to do some marketing to get clients. You're just in reaction mode. Okay. If you're aware, you're observing. I'm noticing the thought, the assumption that I need to do something to get clients. You're not lost in the thought, I need to do something. You're like, oh, curious. I just had this thought. There's this assumption that I actually need to do something to get clients. I'm aware of that, okay? The second one, absorbing when there's emotions, is I'm anxious. So there's just an identity. I am anxious, okay? And then what happens when we're lost in it, all of our usual coping mechanisms to get rid or solve or fix or use force, the masculine way, takes over. No, there's no space for divinity to come in when you say, I am anxious. But when you observe it, say, I'm aware of a sensation that feels uncomfortable in my body. You could even just name it, which, as we go deeper with feelings, we'll notice that we don't even really need to name it. But you could say, I'm experiencing anxiety. Now it's a feeling, it's an experience, as opposed to I am anxious. Another way that we own it is I have anxiety. There's no space between you and the experience of anxiety. Once you start to open up the space, things can move. And I'm actually going to tell you about a really powerful story that happened to me recently. Another example of absorbing is, and you know that you're absorbing when you're reacting to something. That's another key. Okay, my mother keeps criticizing me. I need to have a conversation with her. Okay, so you're reacting to your mother criticizing you and you are immediately in problem solving. I need to have a conversation with her. Do, masculine, problem solve, strategize. Okay. There's no space. You're just caught up in the storyline of that. Observing is, I'm observing that my mother keeps criticizing me. And I'm observing that I don't like it. And I'm observing that I want it to stop. No problem solving, just noticing, just aware. Okay, so when we absorb, we are merged or one with whatever's arising. And when we observe, there's a space between what we notice and what is arising. Okay, so what is awareness? Awareness is a type of relationship to all of life. It describes how you relate to your inner and outer world. Awareness is a type of relationship to all of life. It describes how you relate to your inner world and your outer world. How does this tie into past teachings like the Ultimate Manifestation Intensive? When you are merged, you are reacting. When you are aware, there's the space to respond. Okay? So we practice in UMI, R&R, recognize and respond. Recognize and respond. Awareness is the practice of noticing, observing, watching, having that space. Now, why bother talking about awareness? Well, from the feminine model, we're talking about these really subtle things. So when we're used to feeling powerful in the world by making things happen and figuring things out and using our mind, and the Synergy Retreat is all about accessing the power that's beyond the mind, we have to go deep into these subtle things like, what is awareness and why is it powerful? Well, when you observe, you maintain the space for all that you are to already, all that you already are to arise. So when I say there's nothing missing, you are whole and complete, you are prosperity, you are health, you are well-being, you are freedom, you are joy, you are love, you are intimacy, your connection, your beauty. You already are this. It lives within you. If we're not manifesting it, it's not because it's missing and we have to go out, hunt it down, and make it happen, masculine. We need to open to have it revealed. Reveal the feminine way. The only way for this to be revealed is to let there be space for it to be revealed. Awareness allows space. It allows the space. The discomfort moves through us. The awesome manifestation moves through us. How does it get even better than this? Invitation, movement. The awareness allows the space for it to arise and reveal itself because it's already here. When we absorb and become one with something, the space is filled up. It's filled up, it's pushed down, there's no space. That is the power of awareness. Subtle stuff. Okay? Really interesting stuff to play with for 3 weeks. So, this is the awareness exercise. Practice observing versus absorbing. Notice what you notice. Notice thoughts, notice feelings, notice assumptions, notice conclusions, notice judgments. The next 2 points are the L and the I, because a lot of times our natural question is, okay, well, what do I do with what I notice? What do I do with awareness? So we're going to continue practicing receiving. So you practice saying yes, I'm aware. Then you let it be, there's the L, and invite more or better. So we're still practicing receiving, but with this lesson, we are deep diving into awareness. And what I love about this summer program is that we're literally have an inch wide and a mile deep. We are going to swim in receiving because that is the feminine path to manifestation. But it's something that people talk about it all the time and nobody really knows what it means. So I'm really excited. We get 3 whole weeks to really explore awareness. Okay? So that is the awareness practice. Let me figure out how to get back to you guys. Stop share. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to unmute all the lines. Okay, all of the lines are open. So does anybody have any questions about any of that? Or comments?
I love that. I thought that is really powerful, and I love the observing versus absorbing. because absorbing fills the space, which then doesn't allow anything else in. That was kind of like a mind-blowing thing for me. So, yeah, that was great.
Yay.
I'm really excited about doing that.
Woo-hoo!
Yeah.
I'm excited too. Great.
Me too. Me too, Sonia.
Who's this?
And I like. Oh, it's Amy. Sorry,
Hey, Amy. Great.
my dog got into the room, and so I. Anyway, it wasn't. Anyway, but the still small voice. I love the still small voice. And the spaces in between. I love all of this. I can feel what you're talking about and understand it without necessarily articulating it in so many ways. But I just think this is really good stuff. So
Excellent.
anyway, so I really appreciate it. Yeah.
You're welcome, Amy. You're welcome. And Lara said, love it. Can't wait to practice it now. Exclamation point. Cool.
Yeah, no kidding.
Excellent. Any other questions or comments before we sign off?
I actually had one other thing, and Lara had brought up her experience on her vacation. There must have been something going on vacations, because when I was also on vacation last week, and on that first day, second day that I was talking to you about, I was doing some really beautiful meditations, and during my morning meditation on a walk, I know it was me, but it wasn't me. But I connected to a higher divine. It was in me. It appeared to me, and it just basically, not words, but I could see my face and light and God. It was divine. It was God during this meditation, and just letting me know that I had connected with it, just letting me know that the divine was there. And it was very distinctive. And I'm wondering if I did that the same day Lara did her I don't know. I just kind of wonder. Anyway, it was just very interesting. So I'm really loving this stuff.
Great.
Connecting with God in a way that I haven't before. So anyway,
thank you.
I mean, that's how I interpret it. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, let me address one logistical thing. And then for those of you who want to stay just a few minutes longer, I'm going to tell some personal stories about the things that are manifesting in my life, just to kind of give you some hope and inspiration about the concrete things that show up as well. I'm going off the top of my head, but Lara asked if the next call is on August 14th. Going on memory, yes. So it is the second Wednesday. We're doing all Wednesdays, second and fourth Wednesdays, and we'll have plenty of reminders going out. So tomorrow we'll have the recording for this, the slides, the PDFs, and we'll confirm the date. So that will definitely go out in the email. And let me just mute this quickly, and I'm just going to share a couple stories for those of you who want to hang out, and it'll be on the recording too. Okay, so two things, and these examples I think are really helpful to just make all of these things even more concrete. So first of all, I'll work backwards from the punchline. I'm an escrow to buy a house. And this is such, I mean, I know better than to call it a miracle because I know how this stuff works, but it really is like a miracle. And about a year and a half ago, I kind of got these signs from the universe it's time to go buy property. And I think some of you know, most of you know, that I went through a chapter of life where I lost my home, my assets, had like 7 back-to-back hardships. And, you know, I know now in retrospect that this was very much part of my training program that the universe wanted me to go through to do the work that I do and understand these concepts. So about a year and a half ago, I got some signs from the universe to start looking for houses. I put in 2 offers. They fell through. Okay. First of all, it was a miracle that I hadn't even been thinking about it. And my partner, David, said, you should buy a house. I'm like, oh, wow. I thought someday in the future, which I definitely wanted. I wasn't thinking. So I found out I was able to financially, and I that was huge because of what I'd been through, and it fell through. And I was quite bummed out when it happened. But after the second one fell through, it was about 2 weeks later where I realized, and I remember having this thought, I will never again question the timing, God's timing or divine timing, because I see now what I couldn't see then, which was If I'd gotten that house and I had to go through the process of moving and everything, it would have been horrible. David had bought a house. I would never have moved close to him. So I've been living, over a year now, close to him after doing long distance. Our relationship has blossomed in so many ways that would not have been possible because I was looking 2 hours away, even though I was going to buy the house and rent it out and come here. It would have been so stressful. And I see the perfection in it now, right? So I thought I will never again doubt God's timing ever, right? So I'm like coasting along, living my life, and literally talk about the still small voice. One day I'm living my life, and the next day I hear this little ding, you should start looking for a house. It was like that. I was like, not thinking, I wasn't strategy. I was like, it's time to look for a house. And there were all of these logical reasons why now was right. Anyway, long story short, within days, I had my agent lined up, my lender lined up. I mean, basically, I'm closing on this house August 2nd. The details of it are so magical, so harmonious and so unfolded. I can't even believe it. And it's truly better than I ever imagined. And I'll share more of the details another time, but that's a huge manifestation that's happening. And then the other concrete example I wanted to give you is, so the other day, something showed up that triggered a lot of anxiety, and it was intense, right? Now, I've learned about harnessing the power of my emotions and been teaching this for a really long time. And I know about letting it move through you. I got really good at that with grief. I got really good at that with fear. Anger, grief and anger. But fear and anxiety was still this place where when it would arise, I would try to use force to get control over it. So what would happen? My automatic reaction was anxiety. Okay, fix it, figure it out. What do I need to fix or change in my life to make the anxiety go away? And it took me a while to stay aware enough when it would arise to simply be, oh, that's anxiety arising. And usually it's so fast, like something would happen. And sometimes it was an email or computer during a hard time. And it would arise and I'd be on the keyboard, like answering somebody or fixing something or researching something, right? Or it would come up from some event. And then I'd be figuring out this time it arose. And literally, this is kind of a good practice for awareness when something really triggers you. It's like I would push myself away from the computer. And I would close my eyes and I would just breathe and just let the anxiety rise up. And I would feel it in my body. So I'm going to tell you, I've always had a hard time really explaining what we're doing here. So I finally came up with a way to describe it. It's a little bit, I think all of you will be fine with it. But anyway, when I was telling a client about this, I said, experience your fear as if it were an orgasm. So an orgasm is this sensation, this wave that moves through you. I've yet to meet somebody who says that when they have an orgasm, they analyze it, right? What do? They surrender to it. It's a sensation that moves through you. And it's often like a wave. Now, I'm open to hearing how other people experience big sensations, but for me, it's like this wave. So I let the anxiety come like a wave. You put the thoughts aside, you put the stories aside, you put the problem solving aside, you just let this sensation in the body move through you. And it rises and it falls. And you will hear many spiritual teachers talk about this. These things that arise, they rise and they fall, and they rise and they fall. As long as you don't merge with it, wrestle it to the ground, figure it out, become one with it. If you just stand back, observe it, become aware of it, it just rises and falls. Okay, now what happened with this anxiety trigger was it came, it went, and then I had an awareness. That's the answer, the solution to this thing that was coming up. I'm like, oh, and that's what happens. What's there, the wisdom arises. So it arose. I'm like, okay, I see what's going on. And I'm like, yay, the anxiety went away. I was so excited. I don't have to be uncomfortable. So I'm like, okay, I know what I want to do. Well, another wave came of something else. And I'm calling these it was like a tsunami. And then these were the aftershock waves. So then the wave comes. But I'm like, okay, let this wash over me. another realm. And there were tears sometimes. Sometimes tears were coming as I was becoming aware. Then it passed. Okay, oh, now I see this that I didn't see before. Okay, I know how I need to handle it. And it passed. Oh, good, I feel better. That's gone. Another shock wave comes over me. This is over the course of about 24 hours, right? And then another awareness came. And what happened after the initial tsunami and maybe 3 or 4 waves that I just kept being aware of, letting it be, and inviting more or better, I finally got to this core wound from my childhood that I did not even know was there. And there's no way, and believe me, I've been doing work for a long, I could never have psychoanalyzed my way to this awareness, ever. The awareness, the wisdom was within me, and because I just kept receiving and receiving and receiving, it arose, it was revealed. Once I had that clarity, I was able to have the conversations that I needed with that person. And it took me and that person and the relationship to this whole new level of closeness and fulfillment. So powerful. So I wanted to really illustrate what this can look like and how it can play out, because it is so powerful. And that's what we're talking about with this feminine model of manifestation. So with that, I'm just going to unmute us one more time in case there's any follow-up questions about this. Okay, everyone's unmuted. Any other questions or comments with those stories or anything else from tonight?
I personally loved the anxiety and orgasm analogy comparison. That just kind of puts it in a whole new perspective.
Whole new perspective, right?
So thank you for that. That was
You're
awesome.
welcome. Good. You'll never think of anxiety in quite the same way, right?
No.
Good.
This is
All right.
terrible.
Thanks, Amy. Anybody
Thank you,
else?
Sonia.
Anyone else? Okay.
I thought it was great too. I like that.
Oh, cool. All right. Awesome. Excellent. Thanks, Robin. All right, everyone. We'll sign off for now. Thanks so much for everything that you shared, for showing up live, for being here, because this really, you're each other's teachers. So this is the power of the group. And just watch for my emails tomorrow and stay in touch with each other and with me. We'll keep on keeping on. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Sonia.
everyone. Okay.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.